This is Surah 21, 85 and 86.
I don't even know what this one is. What's it about?
No, but you're spoiling the surprise, man.
Surah 81.
Yeah. Sorry, 21.
Twenty-one.
85 and 86.
And mention Ishmael and Idris and Dhu'l-Kifl. All were steadfast in fulfilling Allah's commands and avoiding all evil deeds, yeah?
Yeah, next one.
And we brought them to enter them in the hereafter to our paradise. They were messengers except for Dhu'l-Kifl was not left with righteous man. It doesn't say anything much about it. We don't need any time so it wasn't prepared. It's not much.
No, but
What's it about?
No. Read Ibn Kathir.
It doesn't say anything about it. 86. First time I haven't seen Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir is not on 86. 85 maybe. Ibn Abbas is there. Ibn Kathir is not on this. It's Galilee and Ibn Abbas. What's it about? I don't even know what it's about. What's it about?
So they purged him.
It's just not there. It's not important enough for Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir don't care about this verse. What's it about? Explain it to me and I'll give you my caption.
No. If you
What's it about? Come on, hurry up.
No, that's the whole point. The whole point is you got the two verses, and it mentions that guy. So if you read, you had Maududi, wasn't it? Yeah, he gave you a whole long description.
I'm not going to read all that.
Right, but here's my question, since I know you're good at being a Muslim.
No, I'm good at interpreting it. I'm good at being a Muslim.
No, but now all of what Maududi wrote there about what's his name? It's hard to pronounce. Dhu'l-Kifl.
Yeah.
Where did you get it from?
Where did you get who from?
All what he's describing there.
It's supposed to be the tafsirs are supposed to be what people are, the general opinion. I don't even know what it's about, so I don't even know what they're talking about.
No, but this is what the whole point is, and this is what, for some reason, the Muslims, it's like their brains are completely turned off, and even it's I don't know. When you read what the tafsir scholars describe, you know that 99% of it's made up.
Not necessarily.
All right. So where do they get it from? Then?
No, I mean, the commentary is based on the hadith. Sometimes they call it hadith. So the commentary is based on hadith, and it's based on what one person said to another. So it's like a scholar's interpretation.
But
Ibn Abbas is supposed to be a person of the time, so he's a cousin.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When you, I reckon that I don't know.
I don't know what your point is.
No. I think the best.
Your point is so confusing.
No, all right. The one I gave you, I think I was going a bit too. I was trying to be too clever, but now I'm going to go more simple now, because Ibn Kathir did do this one, and this one's really simple. All it is Surah 38, 41 to 44, and that's it. Because the other one was too complicated, I think. This one is straightforward.
Surah 38.
Yeah.
Which one? 38?
No, 38, 41 to 44.
And make mention of Muhammad of our bondsman. Mention to the disbelievers of Mecca the event of our bondsman Job when he cried where he prayed.
We didn't read all of it. You only read one verse?
I'm reading more.
Yeah.
This is about Job.
Yeah. Now, once you read it, just do the tafsir for verse 44, because that's the impressive one.
Understand the point.
No.
What are you trying to make? I'm not reading all of this.
No, but this is where you miss out. You have to actually.
I'm not reading all of this now. What's the point?
No.
That's not the point you're trying to make.
No. All right, I'll show you. Look, when you read this, it's talking about.
What are you trying to make?
Hold on. Yeah. You see, when you read all of that, Ibn Kathir is giving you the story of Job, of what those 4 verses mean. But here's the thing, he's actually telling a story. So stories are based on events, aren't they?
What point are you trying to make?
No,
what point are you trying to make? What are you trying to make? What point are you trying to make?
The point I'm trying to make is that Ibn Kathir made it all up. Alright, where do you get it from?
I mean, he's basing it on the stories of the Muslims, the story of the Hadith, of the Surah.
Yeah, but what's written there isn't in the Hadith.
Well, I mean, I don't know the specifics of this case, but Ibn Kathir in general is not making things up. When I read Ibn Kathir's interpretation of a verse, it's usually correct and based on Hadith.
But this is the thing, so this is what I said about you being a good Muslim.
Without tafsirs, you don't understand the Quran. You cannot understand it. There's no context.
Yeah, but that's the whole point.
No, but if you read the Quran and you don't read tafsir, you don't know what's going on. You have no clue. The book don't make no sense.
Yeah, no, but the
so
fact,
you have to read the tafsirs.
Yeah, but here's the problem. The fact the Quran doesn't make no sense. That's how it is written.
It's written to make no sense.
No, it wasn't written to make no sense. It's just that what they have collected. They collected it in a way where it makes no sense, and that's it. The scholars came. The fact that a scholar comes, makes up a whole load of stuff and fills it in.
No, they don't make stuff. They add background information so you understand the background behind the verses. For example, chapter 17, verse 1, for example, says that our servant went from the nearest mosque to the furthest mosque.
Yeah.
Now you don't know who it's talking about. You don't know where it's going. Now, in order to understand what that means, you have to go to the tafsirs. Otherwise, you don't know who the servant is. You don't know where the nearest mosque is. Where's the furthest mosque? You don't know what's happening. You have got to go to the tafsirs to find out that it's about the Prophet going on a flying horse to a location.
Yeah, but what about verse 2?
What's the context? I don't know a verse off my head.
No, verse 2 says, and we gave Moses the scripture and made it a guidance for the children of Israel that you not take other than me as disposer of affairs. Yes, that's the servant. Sorry? That's who's the servant.
Wait, who's the servant?
Moses, because he's in the second verse.
Wait, okay. You assume that, but you don't know.
No, because I'm using the Quran to interpret it itself. I don't care about hadith.
But if you go 17 verse 1, it says we took our servant.
Yeah.
Servant could be in anybody.
Yeah, so then when since Moses is mentioned in the second verse,
he's meant in a different surah, in another surah. It's not telling you that this is the person who went from the nearest mosque to the furthest.
Yeah, but then who would you believe? Allah or some hadith someone could have made up?
No, it's tafsir and hadith which offer the background. So if you say it's Moses never went from the nearest mosque to the furthest mosque. It can't be him. can't be Moses. And it can't be talking about Moses. It's talking about someone else.
No, but
And
notice,
it says the servant. So who's the servant?
but notice you can't say that though. How
Okay,
can
who's
you?
the servant? It could be anybody.
Yeah, but how can you say it's not about Moses though? There's no way to say that.
Yeah, that's why you have to go tafsir.
No.
Because without tafsir, you have no idea. It could be Moses.
Right.
And if I was reading it like you, I would assume that it's Moses.
Oh.
But you don't know who it is without reading the background information.
Right. So okay. So let's move to the next phase. If we go by what you're saying about how you have to have the tafsir to understand the Quran, so you're telling me that all the Muslims from the 10th century and before, they're all in the fire.
No, I'm not saying that.
All right,
I'm saying that the ones who never knew Muhammad, interpret it with, before the tafsirs, they had their own interpretation.
Okay, but could they?
But they might have had access to Ibn Abbas's information.
No,
Ibn Abbas is supposed to be a contemporary of the tribe, so they might have had some access to some tafsirs. Well, I wouldn't think they would have access to proper tafsirs, to be honest. But they'd have access to hadith.
But here's the interesting thing. You know how obviously with the Christians we have different manuscripts, and even better, you heard of the Leningrad Codex? It's in Russia. That's from the 10th century or 11th century, I think. So they've got it there, 11th century. It's been 11th century. It's been written out in text. Now, Ibn Kathir is supposed to be one of the greatest scholars for tafsir. So you're telling me that he came along in and he's written all of these what he's written, and somehow magically the Muslims made all the writing disappear, the original writing.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you get scholars who devote all their time to understanding something, even though they weren't there at the time. So they get all the sources, all the information, and they get it all together, and they do all the checks that they do, and they get their interpretations. Now, if Ibn Kathir's interpretation is largely different from, say, Jalalain or Ibn Abbas, or Qurtubi or Tab, or any of the other tafsirs, then you'd have some doubts. But usually they're more or less similar.
But here's the thing, though, is that
no, I'm saying that without tafsirs or hadith, the Quran makes no sense.
Yeah, but
it makes absolutely no sense.
I know, but
even if you know the Arabic.
But what I'm trying the point I'm trying to get across is that the reason why I'm saying all of this, what I'm saying about why as Ibn Kathir, if he's such a big scholar, why is his original writings that he wrote down missing? Like all of it. They're as far as I know.
But the ones that they've got seem to be valid. Now here's the thing. Do you believe that the Quran can be understood without tafsirs?
No.
So the reality is that if it comes from a God, Allah, He's the most confusing God ever. Because not only can His book not be understood, even though He says it's clear and explains itself in great detail, but He allows it not to be in chronological order. And He's got abrogation, and He's got hidden verses, and He's got ambiguous verses. So He's got the most confusing book in the world. No one knows what's happening, and He can send you to hell if you do the wrong interpretation, or you're a hypocrite. So it's like Allah wanted people to go to hell.
No, but you know what we're saying. The point I'm trying to, overall point I'm trying to make is that the discussion we're having shows that I'm trying to show that this is evidence it was made up.
What was made up?
The Quran and the tafsir.
No, I don't think it came from God.
Yeah, no, but it's the fact that. But all right. Have you ever heard of Ibn Kathir?
Ibn Kathir, yes, I heard about it.
All right. You would you say you're a good Muslim?
Ibn Kathir?
No, you.
Yes, he was a good Muslim. Yeah.
All right. Ibn Kathir was in you said 13th century, wasn't it? Yeah. Huh? No, Ibn Kathir was around in the 13th century at a time where writings. At a time when the writings were
Here's a knowledgeable Muslim.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
Doubting
the
Ibn
man you have to
Kathir.
ask. Sir. Yeah, please refer the question.
He knows a lot. He'll debate everybody.
Because I wanted to bring somebody to you. Ask
Right.
the question to the gentleman.
So
Ibn Kathir,
I'm telling you that Ibn Kathir is a renowned scholar.
Oh, yeah, but what I'm trying to find is, if he wrote in the 13th century, look at the amount of writers we have where we actually have the physical text. So what I want to know is, why is it as if the original physical text that Ibn Kathir is supposed to have written, why is it as if it's been made to disappear?
No, but the text that he's written is accepted and seems to be similar. No, the text that has been found seems to be similar to the other tafsir writers. So it seems to be more or less acceptable.
But what they found, did they say that was his handwriting?
Yes,
It's Ibn Kathir.
No, but did they say that was his handwriting?
No, Ibn Kathir's view is much more in detail than everybody else.
I know, but the point I'm trying to make is that if he...
You've got a question to make the point.
No, working me on the plane.
You have to ask the sheikh.
No, but...
I have a lot of brothers in Nigeria. All Muslim members. They say me welcome to my Muslim Nigeria.
Because
the point
with book, everything.
So what's your problem with Ibn Kathir?
The point, yes.
no, the fact that it's 12th century in a period where when people wrote...
He has access to information.
No, but the important thing is preserving original text. By the time you get to the 10th century, it's easy, because remember I mentioned the Leningrad Codex? They preserved it, haven't they? They've got it in Russia there. So it shows you that it's not hard to preserve it. So if they could preserve that from the 11th century, then when Ibn Kathir has written all this stuff, like all these volumes, you're telling me that somehow they couldn't even like keep one volume of his original writing where
The writing that has been found is considered to be reliable.
You're
the only person I've ever come across who has doubts about Ibn Kathir.
No, but what I'm trying to say is, why is it they had such a hard time preserving it from the 13th century? No, but that's why...
that the tafsirs that have been found, tafsirs that are, according to Ibn Kathir, are one of the most detailed tafsirs under the ring.
Yeah, okay. So you have got doubt about its
authenticity. It's true.
Yeah, now the reason why is because preserving works from the 13th century shouldn't be hard, especially from a big.
Except that Ibn Kathir, some of it has been preserved. And we can really tafsir now.
Yeah, but that's not what my point. My point is that things which are, because you know with the Bible.
Is your point that some of the tafsirs are lost?
No, my point is suspicious that they didn't preserve his original writings enough. Because look how many Bibles of manuscripts we have from the 10th century. I know a lot of people complain that that's too late.
That the tafsirs, according to Ibn Kathir, are not the tafsirs according to Ibn Kathir.
Well, what I'm saying is that I doubt it for the simple reason that it should have been easy for them to keep his original writings that he wrote. It should have been easy.
So okay, if it isn't Ibn Kathir, who's it according to?
Well, the Ottomans, isn't it?
Well, you think? And they ascribed it to Ibn Kathir.
No, but look how many. This is what that's what I'm.
Would you been able to get away with that at the time? Would you been able to get away with writing something and saying it's according to Ibn Kathir?
But here's the thing, you know the Ottomans. Did they have lots of people who they had?
The Ottomans came after Ibn Kathir.
Yeah, but that's the point. That's what I'm saying. If Ibn Kathir was during the Ottomans when they had power,
before the Ottomans.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he was during the Ottomans, then obviously, if his writings went missing while they're in power, then that would be suspicious, and they would know that as well. So if he came before them, now you've got a chance to make it disappear, bring your version in, and then tell everyone this is Ibn Kathir.
You're the only person who thinks this.
Yeah, but do you understand the reasoning?
I do understand. I think I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I still don't understand what has to do with Islam. Islam. Okay, so I don't know. But
No.
it's part of Islamic stories.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, he's basically saying if Ibn Kathir is not true, how does that affect the religion? That's what he's saying. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's part of Islamic
But
tradition.
if it's not true, Ibn Kathir, he's got other tafsir writers, and he doesn't seem to be so much different from the others.
So there are,
Right, but-
It's not like he's saying something and the other people are saying, no, that's completely untrue.
Yeah, but then you would have a big problem because then now, remember what we said that happens to hypocrites? How do you identify a hypocrite now?
Ibn Kathir wouldn't be a hypocrite.
No, but I'm talking about the Muslims on the ground. You have to use some interpretation of what's is in the Quran.
You're confused. What's your general point?
It's
Your
a long
general
shot.
point?
Hmm?
It's a bit of a long shot.
No,
To me, and I thought I had a good breakfast. I thought my brain was alive today.
no,
It's a bit of a long shot.
no, because what?
Everybody believes that Ibn Kathir's writings are according to Ibn Kathir.
Yeah, but the question is why?
Why not? Because the original writings are lost.
Well, that's one thing, and the fact that they're
But if it's one thing,
yeah.
is that one thing a fact?
Oh well, unless they can actually show.
Unless.
Yeah, they can show those
Question.
writings.
The one thing,
Mm.
is it a fact or is it an assumption?
It's an assumption based on them not producing that information.
It's an assumption, it's
Yeah.
not a fact. So let's look at some facts.
Mm.
Ibn Kathir is just one out of 10 major authors of tafsir. He's one out of 10.
Yeah.
And he's become very popularized because he's just came from Syria, right there.
Mm.
Right. And there has been massive amount of translation in his work, and his work has been concise.
Mm.
But also, his books on tafsir of the Quran, they're just one volume. He has huge amount of other works. And his works that is preserved went onto many Arabian parts of the Arabian world and has been tested, compared, sometimes agree and disagree, whatever. But the whole point is this: Ibn Kathir tafsir is just 1 out of 10. And it being 1 out of 10 means to say there are checks and balances. So if 10 of us are historians and we're debating an incident, if the incident is disputed, you have 10 other people to either critic, agree, disagree, or share different views.
Yeah.
So Ibn Kathir doesn't stand as one pillar, you knock that pillar down, the whole of Islam fall apart. It doesn't work like that. He's the last of the 10 most authentic. And he become popularized in English because he's of the last. The last become very popular. So the earlier translator, and also his book is not just 10 volumes of tafsir. He have biographies of the prophets, and his work was not just in text. He used to teach his work to his students. He had students.
Right. But
So he teaches work. So if I have a book and I teach my book being transmitted there, and they've been transmitted there, they've been transmitted, and they've been taught all over. So there is information always being tested and verified. So the Islamic world of information is always tested and contested, always. Even there are critics of Ibn Kathir. So
Right.
it's always tested and contested. So if it by conclusion it end up with a kind of consensus of agreement in the Muslim world, it means to say it has passed the test and the contest and everything else and survived.
right. But the interesting thing though is that we have the Christians like to say about the church fathers and the fact that they quote things from the Bible. So they, in their writings, they actually have pieces from the Bible that they quoted, and that's one of the things that they used to say as as evidence for the Bible. But with Ibn Kathir, you said about he had loads of students. Did the writings of the students survive as manuscripts?
Yeah, Ibn Kathir's students wrote books
Right.
about the very subjects he talked about.
Right.
So a lot of his students have become scholars in a different field,
Right.
and they refer back to him.
Okay.
And then his other books now reflect his tafsir. So he wrote books on the biography of the prophets. So when he wrote books on the biography of the prophets, he referred back to the Quran, back to his tafsir book. So it make a circle, all his books working together.
Yeah, I know. So that's the methodology. But what I'm trying to find is I'm going for the direct physical evidence of physical manuscripts, where you can actually go and see the paper. Does that exist of those students of Ibn Kathir, the physical paper?
I cannot answer that question like that.
Okay.
And I get the point. But the question is, the Muslim world was a world never survived on paper alone.
Yeah, but then you have.
Then you cannot compare, make a similar comparison to the Christian world. For the Christian world, you wouldn't find 500 Christians say, I've memorized the Bible from cover to cover. You'll find millions of Muslims say, we have memorized the Quran from cover to cover.
Ibn Kathir's tafsirs don't largely differ from the other tafsirs. So that's one of the reasons why you think it can be trusted. It just gives more detail. I mean, it's not different from Ibn Abbas or Jalalayn.
But
it's just a little bit more detail.
But you know what I said about you make a good Muslim? Because one thing Christians do is that they say that because of the differences between the Gospels, that actually they use that as a validation for the witnesses to show that
Ibn Kathir is not largely different.
Yeah, no, but
this is what you'd expect.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is that between the Gospels, if they'd have colluded, then you'd have found similarity between what they were saying, even word for word. But what I'm saying is that what's missing from the Bible seems to mysteriously be with the tafsir scholars, where they seem to agree really well, don't they?
Who agreed really well?
No, you'd expect
them to necessarily agree if it was true. If something happens in the park, if there's a fight over there in the park, all of our stories should be similar. If we're telling the truth.
Yeah, but none of them were there though.
Sorry?
None of them would have been there. Yeah, so the stories would differ. That's my point.
No, I'm saying that the stories are similar, which indicates that Ibn Kathir should be trusted, because these stories are not different dramatically from anyone else. He's not telling things that are different from Jalalayn or Qurtubi or Tabari or anything else. He's just giving slightly more details.
Yeah, okay, but still, we can see that argument. That's the one that Muslims.
So if you go to Ibn Abbas, he's tafsir sport. You go to Jalalayn, tafsir sport. You go to Ibn Kathir,
and in English is concise.
But he doesn't contradict.
The original work is very
contradict the rest, which is what you'd expect if he was false. If he was false, you'd expect him to say completely different things.
It comes like a judge, right? In the United Kingdom, when a person goes to testify, the judge have an idea that if he's lying, he will contradict himself.
Or the stories wouldn't be similar.
Yeah, that's a contradiction.
Yeah, if two people see something,
so it's a contradiction.
Dramatically different.
So the question is, there's no contradiction, whereas the four Gospels, there's huge amount of contradictions in it.
But remember, these were people from different areas who came to. Well, obviously, two of them they named them as being with them, but then Mark and Luke, they would have come to the area, and so the fact that the differences you find, that's what you expect if someone actually physically goes in and tries to speak to people.
That's true. Yeah. But then it supports the idea. What you're saying is true, and it's agreed on that. It supports the idea that then this is not the infallible word of God.
Oh yeah, but what it actually then means,
it's not the infallible word of God.
Because what it means,
you cannot have the infallible word of God having different.
Tafsirs are an interpretation or a scholar's opinion. We're not talking about. We're talking about someone's interpretation of the verse.
Yeah, because there are 10 ways verses are interpreted. There's a methodology to it.
But the.
Do you understand the methodology of interpreting the Quran?
Well, that's the thing. I prefer to. The thing I'm trying to do first is.
So the scholars of Quran, or the mufassir of Quran, they look at 10 different ways to understand the Quran. So they have a methodology. If you understand the methodology, you could understand the conclusion. If you understand the conclusion, then you could create hypotheses to disagree with them. But you can't create a valid argument by imagine if this happened, if that happened. The question, you have to understand the method.
Oh yeah, no, but I'm not.
You read tafsirs yourself.
Yeah, that's the reason why I gave you that one.
I mean, do you trust any of the tafsir writers? tafsirs yourself. If you're reading a verse, you don't understand what's going on. What do you do? What do you do?
No, I don't. I'd read what they say, and but I'd more find it humorous. So that's the thing.
Sorry?
I'd more find it humorous.
So you don't take it seriously?
No, because
No, the tafsir gets taken seriously.
No, he doesn't.
So how do you
It's a
understand?
joke. Technically, he's saying it's a joke. It's a big joke.
well, no, that's
You
not
read
what I'm
hadiths
saying.
then? You read hadiths?
Yeah. I've read them for hours, man. You know.
Okay.
Like,
But you read hadiths of the verses.
yeah, sometimes the verse it'll.
So you know what? So do you know what's going on when you read a verse?
Yeah, but that's what the problem is, though. You know that this now you've mentioned another big mystery of the of Islamic scholarship, you could say. You know, when you read the tafsir, I don't know if you realize that sometimes the tafsirs magically follow the translation and not the original Arabic. Yeah, see, but that's the thing. This is actually a big thing.
Yeah, but translation is not tafsir.
No, but what happened is
Translation is not tafsir.
yeah, no.
The tafsir has to relate to the verse, though.
Yeah, but it relates to the translation.
It explains the verse.
No, but what you do is you can actually go on a translation service, get the Arabic, paste it in there, and it will say something different from the translation. But if you look at the tafsir, it will match the translation,
Why is that?
not the Arabic.
Do you know why is that?
Yeah, because of a Muslim scholar, isn't it?
No, that's not true. First of all, hear what happens, right? Hear what happens. First of all, they use some sort of online AI app. This online AI app use secular dictionary, whereas tafsir use ancient understanding of what the verse intends. And tafsir is an attempt also to understand context and other materials with it. So when Michael take some AI app online and take a verse and put it in it, and he comes with a different conclusion, it's because the modern standard Arabic dictionary is very different to understanding Arabic ancient literature. So the Arabic ancient literature explanation is going to be very different to a modern standard Arabic dictionary. So for example, if someone was to recite a verse in Quran in Arabic, in a language, the person who has religious knowledge will understand the verse different to someone who has secular modern understanding of the language. So the Quran has to be interpreted in a historical, religious context rather than a modern, contemporary context. And this is what my learned friend here struggles with.
Oh yeah, listen, but here's the interesting part. I actually compensated for that. No, but what you just said there, I actually compensate for that, because what happens is if you get a Quran verse and go into Google and put the whole verse in, it will come up exactly as the translation. So Google's actually on the side of Islam.
Not all the time.
No, but
sometimes. Not all the time.
No, most of the time, as long as it's the whole verse.
Do you know why?
Yeah, because it's obviously it's using the sources from the Muslims as the answer.
Google is a system whereby what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah. So if commonly, like Surah Al-Fatiha, the first chapter of the Quran, with 7 verses, that is put into Google 800 million times. With one particular translation, that's what you're going to get out of it. So AI gives you what you get. What you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. However, when you're studying ancient texts, you must have some kind of historical understanding of what is meant, what is intended, rather than taking a literal contemporary understanding of the verses of the Quran. And that's the difference. There's a huge difference with understanding Quran in a literal, contemporary, modern standard Arabic than a historical one. Very different.
See, that's so.
Oh yeah.
Because if you look at, for example, if you look at the word taqwa. This word called taqwa is bombarded all over the Quran. And it's commonly translated as fear Allah. Commonly. Literally. Literally translated as fear Allah. Ittaqallah. Taqwa. Now, if you read the Quran bil Quran, Quran explaining Quran, you come to realize it doesn't literally mean fear Allah, it means to be dutiful to Allah. So if you apply fear consistently, you're going to find contradictions in meaning. It doesn't make sense. But if you apply the meaning according to the context and you use Quran explaining Quran, you will see taqwa means be dutiful to Allah. Be aware of Allah.
Tafsir as well.
Exactly. So the tafsiri meaning comes from, number one, Quran explains Quran. That's number one. Two, some of the meanings are embedded in the language, in the structure of the language. Some meanings are taken specifically from the Prophet, peace be upon him. And other meanings are taken from the circumstances when the verse is revealed. So when you start understanding principles of tafsir and you see Ibn Kathir, you can understand how and why he arrived at this. But if you don't understand the principles, you just go away, oh my God, I cracked it. I destroyed Islam. Finally, it's finished. You're going to go away with that.
I don't think you can understand the back.
Muhammad.
Israelites will return to take down Islam.